Fanatic here, and let's talk about books. Like this book, I'm Screaming as Fast as I Can by Leanne Quigley. Like, I can't even pretend that this is a horror novel as I traditionally do and I'm supposed to. But man, I can only read so much fiction. Because the only genre besides horror that I primarily read is biographies, autobiographies, and memoirs. And I love me some autobiographies, biographies, and memoirs. How does this book just measure up? First of all, I have a couple of complaints. Mainly that it's so short, which, for memoirs, easy and quick reads aren't uncommon, as I like how they focus on singular points in time, with this one primarily focusing on just her acting in B movies and being a scream queen. I do have a couple bones to pick with this book. Mainly its length, which is incredibly short, and with large font, I was able to breeze through it far quicker than I originally expected to, which wasn't bad. It's let me move on to other novels. However, I wish she would have went into more detail, specifically during her first work with Charles Band. Would have been a great one, as I love his work at Full Moon Pictures. I would have been really interested to hear more in-depth behind-the-scenes stories of Night of the Living Dead, but both of those are barely touched on and even occasionally just mentioned in passing. It feels like there's a lot of that. There's a lot of her name-dropping movies that she's been in, and she really doesn't need to do that. I'm buying the book because I'm a fan of your work already, so I know what you've been in. I would like to hear, behind-the-scenes tales. If Chins Could Kill is a much better example by Bruce Campbell of what I was hoping to get out of this book, given the fact that I did buy it sight unseen. Just knew it was out there and it was something that I desperately wanted to read and add to the collection. All of that said, I really did like what this book brought to the table. It was quick, it was concise, which is good and bad, like I've said. I would have enjoyed more depth. But I'd rather read this than nothing at all, and she does have two other novels which I haven't read, so maybe those will hit the spot better when I get to them. Another thing I would have liked for this to happen was, it doesn't feel that polished, and it could have used a few more revisions. It feels choppy at points, like it was quickly edited together, and it was done so it felt sort of haphazardly as a reader. There's some areas that could have used cleaning up, and yeah. All that said, if you're a fan of the genre of B horror movies, and especially if you're a fan of Leanne Quigley's, or someone just interested in B movie film history, I would recommend this book. It does have a great couple of behind-the-scenes moments. A lot of interesting views from the other side of the counters at conventions that I liked. Yeah. I also wish she would have went more into depth with her work with other famous B queens, but maybe that isn't one of her other novels. Final thoughts? Overall, it was an enjoyable read, and I do not regret the $22 price tag that was placed on it, and I feel it was money well spent, though I wouldn't recommend it to anyone unless you are very much interested in B movies, scream queens, and the atmosphere and culture that surrounds them. If you are into those things, like some of us here, then I would recommend it. Otherwise, I'd say pass it on it if you're just looking for a good autobiography, memoir, or biography to read. In which case, if you were looking for something that was a behind-the-scenes view of B horror films, I would suggest Bruce Campbell's If Chins Could Kill if you haven't already read it. But if you've read that and you wanted something that was easy and you were able to find a copy of this book affordably, I would recommend it if you wanted to see more of that and from other perspectives within the industry. And that's all for Leanne Quigley's I'm Screaming as Fast as I Can. See you again next month for a book that I haven't picked yet. And that's all my thoughts on I'm Screaming as Fast as I Can. I'll see you again next month with a book that I haven't picked yet, though it will be longer and the video more substantial than this one. Maybe I'll pick something by Dean Koontz. Haven't talked about him yet.